Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the June 12th edition of the Friday Big Byte. We are live, we're on YouTube, and you clearly don't have anything else to do right now. So, good morning. Welcome. Hey, Jess. Hey, Kristen. We'll dig right into it. You know, we got some digital stuff. I was totally wrong. Rob, you're up right now. Were you going to be the first one sharing, or is it actually supposed to be Jake?
I mean, it was going to be me, but you're...
Yeah, no, go.
welcome.
Perfect.
No,
Go for
I
it.
don't-
Dive right in.
All right, why not? Okay. Okay, good morning, everybody. So first up, what we have is some really fun reading material for you. This is actually a whole bunch of different articles and whatnot explaining some of the benefits and some of the problems between race and technology. So this is really, really neat. Some of the stuff we've covered a long time ago, such as in this one, facial recognition systems, how they perform differently on different genders and races. But a lot of other things that we never really understood, such as vocal recognition systems. Like there are problems with that. There's interesting stuff about how predictive algorithms in the criminal justice system are biased against Black people. Really, really crazy things, but a lot of stuff that I think we definitely need to read about right now. And then there's also a couple of hopeful things in there too. But it's really, really good to cover the gamut and to really educate yourselves on everything that's going on right now and how technology can benefit or hinder the entire Black Lives Matter movement. Speaking of which, protesting is something that obviously a lot of us really want to do right now. And we came across this site called What Three Words, which is actually a really, really cool way to organize a protest or a party or anything else that you really wanted to do while socially distancing. What this really does is it kind of breaks up our entire world into a whole bunch of 3 meter by 3 meter squares. And then each one of them is given a unique identifier by combining three completely random words. This is really, really, really cool because basically what you can do is you can tell yourself like, okay, so this is going to be my square. Then you can assign the different other squares to other people and they can use this to figure out where they're supposed to be. So for instance, I'm going to check out my house.
You mean your
I am
friend's
right
house?
now.
Your friend's
I am
house.
currently in stars.label.tanks and my cat is currently over one, so he is in editor.bubble.indoor. So, but it's a really cool way to like think about this, and we can actually use this. So if in any point in time we wanted to have some sort of a fun organization of people, we could assign each one their own little square and everybody can be safe. And I thought this was just a really interesting and fun approach to social distancing and a really good solution for protests. Finally, really quickly, I do just want to give a quick plug to, I know we mentioned previously on Twitch, there's the group called Black Girl Gamers.
Yes.
They are having a really fun thing going down tomorrow. It's not currently on their schedule. I actually saw it on their Twitter, so I apologize because I don't have the full-on details, but there's a whole bunch of them that are going to be speaking, playing, etc. Here we go. There's all this stuff for it. The Black Girl Gamers Online Summit starts tomorrow on twitch.tv. A whole bunch of really good stuff going down. So join in if you have nothing else to do or if it happens to be a rainy day.
Watching other people play video games is a lot of fun. Or is that just me? Or in Jeff? It's just me and Jeff.
No, it's super fun. It's super fun. But these are also like these are going to be discussions. There's going to be speakers. There's going to be a whole bunch of cool stuff too. And it's not just entirely about gaming. This is kind of
you're right. In fact, I was so glad that you shared this channel last week because this is a great example of how Twitch is really an emerging media marketplace, right? Twitch originally was just about gaming. Now, there's these sections that are for just chatting that are more like live podcasts, video podcast content, and there's tons of pre-roll, mid-roll ad opportunities and overlay ad opportunities, and there's at any given time millions of eyeballs on Twitch. So when we talk about fishing where fish are. Something like Twitch may not make sense for every client, but there is a massive audience at any given time that could be exposed to not only great content like Black Girl Gamers, but in the midst of that, they could be running pre-roll or ads or mid-roll, as well as then, like you're seeing with some brands on YouTube, actually donating the proceeds from the revenue driven from those to something more more important and meaningful. So Twitch is just a really great space. If you aren't familiar with it, you should probably just explore a little bit and get comfortable with the idea of it, because at some point we're gonna have some work that's placing some media in Twitch. I'm confident.
Heck yes.
Was that your shares for the day, Rob?
Yeah, for me.
All right. So who do we have next? Jake, what's coming up?
I think it's me. Let me find my application window here. Yeah, I never really understood Twitch or watching people game. To me, I was like, I just didn't get it. But my new recent favorite hobby is watching someone else solve Sudoku puzzles. Like, I will watch 40-minute long videos of this guy just solving Sudokus. It's like enthralling to me. And I had this moment where I was like, I understand Twitch now, because there's no way I as a human can judge someone else for watching someone play video games when I'm watching this British dude solve Sudokus. So I completely get it. One of my favorite drag queens also, she's doing a RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Sims version live on Twitch.
Wait, hold on. How many things is that? RuPaul Drag Race All-Stars Sims?
Sims. So she built the whole set and all of the different characters on Sims.
What?
And so she'll be like, tune in live to see the cast reveal of like Drag Race All-Stars, but it's all on Sims. She's doing it herself. So again, no judgment here. There is Twitch for everyone.
I don't know if she's watching right now, but Raina loves The Sims, so we're gonna have to share that with her.
Guaranteed there's something.
Share it with me too. I want to see that.
Okay, Rob.
That sounds
I got you. It's Trixie Mattel. So this is my cat. I just didn't want to start off with something depressing, so that's just my cat and how she likes to lay. But now moving into the real shares here. This is a bit old, but I think still important. We may remember, Trump likes to just go out there and say, we're going to just ban Twitter, rehaul this, and get rid of that. And sometimes I think it's easy for us to try to just tune it out and say things, he doesn't know what he's talking about. This is never going to, pass or get through anything. But I thought this was an interesting article that goes through the implications of some of the things that he's saying and what they actually would mean, and things that we might actually want to keep an eye out for. So the two things that I wanted to point out about this internet privacy thing that he was trying to do is that large social media companies are subject to the same rules as the government under this new order. It hasn't gone through anything, but under what he's proposing, large social media companies would now be subject to the same rules as the government. So that would include things like accessibility, 508 compliance, things that we actually do care about. And then later on, it says that for the purposes of the order, the term online platform means any website or application that allows users to create and share content. So that's not just Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. This is, a 20-member bird watching forum or a cooking blog with a comment section. So these are the types of websites that many of our clients have. If Word Science has a comment section on the bottom of a blog post, that's now a social media company, and that's now subject to the same rules as the government. So just all these little things that kind of trickle down and start to affect one another in these big sweeping statements. So just some things that we want to keep in mind as more and more laws start to get passed and discussed, trying to regulate the internet, which, as we know, legislature is a bit behind on. So they could eventually trickle down and start to affect some of our clients and some of the things we're doing, even if on the surface it seems like it's not really geared towards us. It might be. So something to consider and watch out for there. Next, this is just a real quick one. We've shared similar things in the past. This is just about how colorblind users are pushing for design changes in technology. One of the rules that we like to follow is that the differentiating factor between something in your UI should never only be color. There should always be something else. Is it a shading? Is it pattern? Is there an icon? Just something to where colorblind users can tell the difference. So this whole story is about how it used to be very difficult as a colorblind user to leave a Zoom meeting. Apparently, it was red text on a black background, and this is all about how someone just couldn't figure out how to leave their Zoom meeting and how it was really difficult. So they actually changed what the button was and made it different colors and added a different icon so that it wasn't just exit meeting, red text on black background. Guess you're stuck in that Zoom meeting forever. So some other things to keep in mind. We always love talking about accessibility in design, and it continues to be an issue across large and small companies alike.
And for Beyonce.
What happened with Beyonce?
Wasn't it Beyonce? Didn't she get sued like last year, the year before, for accessibility concerns?
Yep,
That
her
is-
website was awful.
What's that, Phil?
Yeah, I remember that.
Was
Phil
it
just
not
said her
Beyonce?
website was awful.
Her website.
I mean, visually, like, great, but you know what I mean.
What was it? Beyonce though? Am I wrong? I know it's some
It
celebrity.
was. It was definitely Beyonce.
Okay.
Yeah, we shared it.
I'm
in a
gonna
Big
refrain
Byte.
from making any positive or negative comments about Beyonce, but you heard it here.
Yeah.
Phil
Jake is flat out
thinks
refusing.
that Beyonce's website was awful. So
I'm
that's
pretty
what
sure
Phil said.
that you shared that, Jake. So, anyway.
That doesn't sound like something that I would do, Phil. And to round it out on my, positive topics for the day, my last share is your website stressing out visitors? I think now especially people are already at a high stress level, and what we do in design could potentially calm them down or stress them out a bit more. So this whole article kind of goes through the importance and how to de-stress your web design. And one of the big takeaways here was that in real life, if you're stressed out, you either figure out how to cope with that or how to change your life around so that you could potentially be less stressed. But if you encounter a website that stresses you out, you may not really understand, oh, I'm feeling stressed by this website. Why is that? You just have this like intrinsic feeling that you're not going to spend a lot of time there, or it's frustrating, or you're going to leave. And that can really hurt our metrics and hinder what we want our websites to do. So that's why things like this are important. So it's giving examples like draw from nature, look at your color palette. Interestingly enough, it talks about this word that I don't know how to pronounce, and it's
Go ahead, give it a
the
shot.
it's the instinct that we have as humans to warn us against predators. And the most commonly seen colors that are these warning signs are red, yellow, black, white, colors that may be used together in some way. You never know. So this is just going into looking at why you might want to use those colors. This is Bear Grylls. This is like super outside and edgy. Like you would want this kind of red, white, and black because, that's what the brand is about. If you were trying to be a more calming brand, you maybe wouldn't use those colors. So it talks about making sure your site is predictable, not hijacking the scroll, removing different pop-ups that people aren't seeing. And so again, we want to be more sensitive of what people's state of mind is when they're coming to our site and make sure that we're accomplishing our goals and our clients' goals and not unnecessarily stressing people out, confusing them, and causing them to leave the site feeling worse than when they got there. So I apologize that my shares aren't more positive, but again, just a reminder, this is my cat. That's the most positive thing that I have for today.
It's a good cat.
Exactly.
all for the cat.
All right, who was taking over next year? Is that you, Debo?
I believe it was me.
Or was it Phil? Okay, sure.
I
Yeah.
thought it was Phil.
My bad. I'm totally off today.
Go for it, Phil.
Okay, is it working?
Sure is.
Awesome. So the first thing I wanted to share was something I found this week that just was really striking to me, and oddly enough, it came from the fashion industry, which is something that I don't really know anything about. So what I was intrigued by was the visual, but then the story behind it was really cool too. So it came from this fashion label called Hanifa by designer Anifa Muvwemba, and basically she is an African immigrant to the United States, and she kind of organically grew a fashion brand through social media, and so that really speaks to the power of social media. But she kind of went a step further, and so ever since the pandemic started, she was in the midst of planning her first runway show, which she was obviously really excited about. But that the coronavirus, changed everything. So something that she had actually been working on in the meantime was 3D modeling, and it turned into an Instagram live runway show where she created 3D models of her clothing and put these really cool videos together that kind of allow you to focus on the very small details of the clothing. There's no distractions at all. There's no people, no backdrop or anything. And you can see, oops, I'm switching tabs here. If you go to the Hanifa Instagram, anywhere where you see like the clothing with a black background, you can see these different parts of the show. But you can also watch the full show on Instagram still. So hopefully this is playing for you, but it's just so cool to see. And like, talk about a pivot to digital in a time when we have to be physically distant. So all that was really kind of what struck me initially. But then if you look at the inspiration behind this project, it's all about the history of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is where she immigrated from. And, she talks in the video earlier on about how one of the things that she hopes that this kind of sheds some light on is the coltan mining that happens there, which it worked for me because I knew nothing about it. But coltan is a mineral, and there are metals that are taken from it. They're essentially in every electronic device that we use. So we're kind of all involved in this in some way. But there are a lot of ethical issues, like child labor and bad working conditions surrounding the mining of that mineral. So yeah, just a really mind-blowing way to bring attention to that. And I just thought that this was really cool.
That's super cool. I knew Jessica would say something because it was so cool. I knew she was going to comment.
Nice. I can't see the comments right now, but I appreciate them. The last thing I wanted to share was just this fun resource I found called Color Copy Paste. And the name pretty much says it all, but I thought it was a cool concept, but the website was also pretty cool. So the idea is that you can use your phone to pretty much scan anything that it sees using the camera, and you can take like a hex color from real life and then sync it to like Figma or Sketch or to your web browser, and then you can use that in a design. So like if you're seeing inspiration in the real world, that's a kind of a cool way to bridge digital and real life. But something I really liked about the website itself was that it kind of has this demo built in.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, as you move your cursor over it, you can see the colors it's picking up. So if you click on the green and the succulent there, you can see the green shows up in your palette. And so you can just kind of click around. And I just thought that was a great way to demonstrate it without like forcing the user to download this plugin and go through a few steps to actually try it themselves. It kind of lets you do it right in the browser, which I thought was cool.
Very cool.
I like that.
I was trying to check it out on mobile, but I spelled the URL wrong.
I actually did that too this morning. I had to email it to myself. There was something weird happening, but I got it to work eventually.
I just wanted to see how the okay. So on mobile, it seems like they kind of scale back that cool experience that you were just showing. So that's like a good example of how, you know, on desktop it may be more fluid and interactive, but on mobile it's more representative just because of, you know, it's kind of some evolved functionality there.
Yeah, yeah, good point.
Really cool. That's super cool. And shout
Um,
out to Figma, which we've been talking about the past few days. All right, who's on deck here?
I can share on my end.
Sure.
Let's see. Um, one sec, sorry. All right. So to start off, I just want to do a quick shout out to the city of Rochester, and I think um, some locals that organized this. If you're not familiar with downtown, this is MLK Park, where for the past 2 weeks now, the protests have been originating around here, and then they've been marching around the city. But just a really cool uh, picture from up high, just to see um, from high up, just what we see in Washington D.C. In yellow, we have in Rochester as well now, and I think that happened just the other day.
Yeah, it
Next,
was actually Sean Dunwoody, I believe, spearheaded that, the local Rochester artist.
oh yeah, is he? He's a speaker for a lot of events in
Yep.
Rochester.
Yep, he's a phenomenal artist.
Yeah. So next, I just want to shout out for Netflix. They compiled a curated list of content to stream about Blackness in America. So if you go onto Netflix today, or if you're hanging out this weekend inside, they've put together a carefully curated list of titles that sort of just begin to tell the stories about racial injustice and Blackness in America. And this is sort of the social post they put together. And then um, it's just a way for them to, or for users to, you know, if they're not going out and protesting, it's another way of learning more about America's history. And um, there's film series and documentaries that you can check out. I recommend Moonlight. Okay, next we have Snapchat just released new update for their AR platform with voice search, local lenses, and Snap machine learning. So one thing that's really cool here is they've been like improving their AR power for lenses every year, but seems like sort of the next step where things are starting to come together, where they're combining, you know, voice, AR filters, and machine learning to be able to, you know, identify if you're saying, "Hey, Snapchat, make my hair pink," it just goes and directly does that, which is really, really nice user experience where you're not having to swipe through all the lens carousels to find what you want. You can just search just with your voice, which is much more natural and much quicker for users, which is very cool. And you can also do stuff like, "Hey, Snapchat, give me a hug," or "Hey, Snapchat, take me to the moon." It's all sort of these lenses that they've been working on throughout the years, and it's just integrated in a much nicer way. And then one other thing you can start to do is they've made partnerships for visual search for Amazon. And so, like, if you take a picture of a car or of a dog, it will, you know, say, "Oh, this is the Chow Chow." Or if you do an audio search with Shazam inside Scan Feature, it could tell you, you know, what song you're listening to.
I'm so glad you shared that part, Debo, because that's a really good example of like really truly integrated commerce and media, right? Because now, you know, while it's fun, it's ultimately driving you to a product listing, with intent to purchase. So it's a very savvy thing they're doing, and I'm very curious to see how that performs for them. My hunch is it's going to do really well, right? But I'm really glad that you shared that part specifically, because when we talk about cutting edge, that's the type of stuff that it's just more seamless. There's less friction for a user, and they can kind of easily make that purchase and just keep going on consuming fun, engaging content. So really, really glad you shared that part of it, especially.
Mm-hmm. One thing is like sneakerheads trying on shoes virtually.
Yep.
That's something that you'll see as well. And then locally, they're also starting to map out the world. So, if you're on Snapchat and you're in Rochester, you might be able to see these local art pieces. Something like, what if the Black Lives Matters painting on the road? Maybe it fades away, but if you go onto Snapchat, you can still see it. That could be a really cool application of it. And then I'll just do one last one, which is interesting to me. I'm not really a Facebook user, but they've been recently testing Wikipedia-powered information panels, which is similar to Google in their search results, which I think is a really nice step in the direction of, combating fake news if possible on Facebook, where, if you search up Joker, this is sort of the pilot version of, they have this panel on the right, just as you would in Google search.
Okay, so it wouldn't line in feed, it would show up to the side. Okay.
At the moment, this is sort of the first
Gesundheit.
question. So this is the first iteration of it on the right, but maybe we see it in this center panel as
Right.
well in the future. And something like, if you search up a person, it'll come up as well.
Did they get into the why? Like what's driving them to do that? Because I didn't actually come across this article.
Well, I would say number one, I think Facebook considers Google a competitor.
Yeah.
They don't want users leaving their site to search for something else.
Sure.
So if they can keep their users in Facebook, that's like ideal. And I think number two is also, in terms of fake news, it's a way to combat it.
Sure.
If possible.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's other reasons as well. But that's all I have to share today.
Right on. Thank you, sir. Is that flipping it to you, Jeffrey?
Sure. Yeah, if people want to stay past 9:45, I got it.
Double of you.
All right, can y'all see my
Yes.
Yes, please. Right.
Yes.
Wholly inappropriate for work. Have
Yes.
headphones.
But
kids
appropriate for
away.
life, I feel.
Very appropriate for life.
Yeah.
Talk about a dude who's able to say it in a way that most people just can't. And just for the masses, it's eye and ear opening to hear him talk about this for almost a half hour. Anecdotal, interesting stories that he has, and how he relates that to the current time. It's really pretty amazing. So I'll share this link. Definitely it's worth all 27 minutes of it. I'd watch it for an hour. Community Gardens Rochester. So for a couple Eagle Scout projects way back in the day, I helped build inner city community gardens. And it just seems like a really relevant and just beneficial thing to do now, right? Because gardens are inherently community oriented, right? Especially a community garden. Like, multiple people have to be there multiple times to make it work. So if not just fostering a better sense of community in the inner city, it provides practically, it provides food and nutrition for people who need it. So maybe that's something that we can sponsor. A couple weekends, we can maybe go out and build a couple or maintain a couple of community gardens in the city.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be a cool thing to do. And then just a story about the United Way and the Rochester City School District teaming up to get a bunch of laptops to 4th and 5th graders who really need them in the inner city. I think it's a great way to obviously learn remotely. It's probably the only way to learn remotely, is having a decent laptop, but just thought that was kind of a breath of fresh air to see that some of these funds for the Rochester City School District are going to technology. And then also Fuego Coffee, in a controversial but I think popular move, pulled their free coffee from first responders, well, from police specifically, and are giving all of that free coffee to teachers, Rochester City School District teachers. So just
hard to
more good
argue,
news.
you know, with
I know.
giving teachers free coffee. I'm sure lots of reasonable people could differ on the other side of it, but you can't really argue giving some teachers little shot of Java.
I don't think they get the recognition they deserve. So
Touche.
Good to see. That's all I got today. Nothing really tech related per se, but just current and some uplifting stuff. Definitely watch that Dave Chappelle 846.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's pretty good.
Those are great, Jeff. I'm wondering if there's any photo evidence of you as a young Jeff just building those community gardens. Would love to see that if you have
I'm sure I
it.
do have pictures of them somewhere. Yeah, my parents probably have them. I'd love to share them if I can find them.
Next week.
Next week, it's my share.
Well, I have
Next
a
week we got
super
this shared.
quick one for you guys, which is pretty straightforward, I think. So let's see if it shows up here. Nope, doesn't seem to. You guys are seeing it in Skype, but it doesn't seem to be showing up on the other end. Nope. All right, well, I'll stop sharing that, and I'll just share the link. Basically, shortcut, if you ever are sick of YouTube ads, all you have to do is put a period at the end of the URL, and it just skips the ads for you. So you basically can just literally add a dot at the end of the YouTube URL. No ads. Don't believe me? Try it yourself. That was my one share, because I was going to share Dave Chappelle as well.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm glad you did. That was like
Must
the
be worth
highlight
it.
of my evening last night, was watching that. It was
So good.
it says
raw.
release the Eagle Scout cut. Probably from one to another, right?
More than likely.
Yeah. Belowitz, were you an Eagle Scout?
Strikes me as one.
Yeah, I didn't make it all the way to Eagle Scout. I stopped before that. I know you're a real trooper, you guys. Or Scout, not a trooper. All right, well, that's basically what we have for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, hope you appreciate the shares. We appreciate you guys for checking out, hanging out with us. If you have any questions, any thoughts, always willing to talk. And we'll try to share this back out for anybody who missed it. So thanks again. Have a great weekend.
Subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We're 24 some odd subscriptions away from having a dedicated partners YouTube handle. Thank you for the shout
Jeff
out.
will release childhood photos when we reach 100 subscribers.
Yes.
Really good bet.
You hear
I
that,
like that.
Belos? When we get 100 subscribers, Jeff will release those hostage photos of himself. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a great weekend. Peace.
Deal.
All right. Bye.